Welcome to Chapter 2, Instructional Strategies and Teaching Arrangements. Here are your key concepts. Remember that these are the ones that you'll have to respond to on your discussion board. The big picture is this. When you're teaching children with significant cognitive disabilities, you remember three things. First is that they learn slowly. So they have to have a lot more repetition, a whole lot more repetition than an average child, a whole lot more repetition than even a child with mild learning disabilities. Secondly is that they forget easily. Sequences that you're trying to teach them may not just take days, they may take weeks, they may take months to learn a particular sequence. And the third is that they don't generalize well. So if I teach a child, for instance, how to wash his hands, and then we move to a different kind of sink, then we have to start all over again. So what are the implications of these three principles? As you go through this class, keep in mind over and over again that we're working with kids who learn slowly, forget easily, and don't generalize well. Effective teachers use active learning, clear expectations, and task analysis of complicated skills to benefit all students. Now, what I'm going to be doing for this particular video PowerPoint is I'm going to give you on Canvas a copy of this so that you can go to these links. I won't spend time with the links in this presentation other than just clicking on them to show you what they are. So the first one is active learning. And so with active learning, what you have is you have a company that is called LilyWorks, and they have 10 principles of active learning. They say that everyone can learn, that active learning is hands-off. And so what that means is that kids with significant disabilities are used to people doing things for them. With active learning, we're going to stand back. We're going to give them prompts, but we're going to let them do the work themselves. For active learning, we use auditory and tactile modes. We use responsive environment and short sessions. Now, by this, what we mean is we want sessions that are 5 minutes or less. Mix variety and constancy. So sometimes we're going to do things the same and sometimes we're going to do things different, right? We're going to work up weight bearing. For kids with significant disabilities, what happens is they have to learn how to bear weight. For every skill that they do, to sit up straight, you have to learn to bear weight. To be able to work on a communication board, you have to sit up straight. So we have to work on their strength and their endurance. Emotional development involves mastery. And so the things that you're good at are the things that you like. And the better you get at it, the more you like it. And the more you like it, the more satisfied you are, not just with that task, but with life in general. Learning is through repetition. I already mentioned that to you. You've got to allow kids to fail. Talk and reward at the end of play. It's very important that the social connection is made in everything that we do. One of the reasons why in this class I talk to you so much is to get you to connect to me. If you connect to me, you connect to the learning. And then limiting input, waiting for response. Kids with severe disabilities tend to be very passive, and so we want them to become responsive. Okay? Another thing we have is clear expectations. Your book talks about that for kids to understand what it is we want them to do. We're not just going to tell them, we're going to give them auditory directions, we're going to give them visual directions, we're going to give them physical cues, lots of different input as to what it is they're supposed to be doing. The next thing your book talks about is task analysis. Now, I'm not going to play this video for you, just know that this is a 4-minute video and you can go back and watch that on your own. Next, we have consider student interest in learning tasks that can increase student engagement. For this, I have an article. We're not going to do a whole lot of academic articles, but this is an academic article that I want you to read, and there will be some questions that you will be asked as part of your assignment. So be sure you read this. It's really good stuff. I think that it's going to be powerful and be helpful to you. And then we've got engagement with multiple disabilities. Folks, this is a long video. It's 17 minutes long, but it is so super good. You really liked the stuff with Colton. You're going to like this just as well, maybe not better, but just as well, because it talks about a woman's journey with her child and his disability and how she works to get him connected to the world around him. Many types of prompts have been used to teach students with severe disabilities, given the need to consider individual student needs and abilities. And so what we have here first is what's called a prompting hierarchy. And so what this tells you is how we use techniques such as most to least prompting, and we'll have a video about that in a minute, least to most prompting, and then the different levels of prompts. And so this, to study for your test for this week, she said, giving you a big hint, this is going to be one of the places you need to go. Okay, then we have a video of progressive time delays. It's just a 2-minute video. And then we have a video of simultaneous, oops, sorry about that. Go back a slide. And then we have a video of simultaneous prompting, which is a 10-minute video. But again, it's really good. It explains a lot about how prompting is used. And it would be very helpful to watch it also to study for your test for this week. And then it says, a variety of prompting strategies have been used successfully to shape desired behavior. Here is a article about schedules of reinforcement. And so it talks about continuous reinforcement, intermittent reinforcement, fixed ratio, variable ratio, and so on. This one would be a good one to use to study for your test this week. Then we have some videos. We have a video on fading. It's just a minute. We have a video on most to least prompts, and that's a 2-minute video. This one's really good because it really is a kid with severe disabilities. Then we have one on least to most prompting.
This next example.
And then we have a really nice article, well, not article, but a really nice page from Intervention Central about what they call extended learning. And what they're talking about here is how to generalize and also how to work on maintenance. This one would be really good for your discussion page. And then last, your chapter talks about teaching arrangements, large groups, small groups, and partner learning. What they talk about is that in large group instruction, for the kid with severe disabilities to become part of the class, what he has to do is he has to be an active participant. And so one of the ways they suggest to do it is through questioning. Now, keep in mind that some of your kids are nonverbal, and so you would have to ask questions in which they could give some sort of symbolic response. What your book suggests, and they have a nice chart that does this, is that what you do is you ask a question. Say, for instance, we're learning about weather. And so you can start with the kid with severe disabilities and say to them, do you like cold weather better or do you like hot weather better? And if they can't talk, then you have them say, raise this hand if you like cold weather better, raise this hand if you like hot weather better. And then after they give their response, then you can say the rest of the class, who agrees, who disagrees, and then move on to whatever it is that you're working on. In small groups, there are several ways you can get the child with severe disabilities engaged. One's through what we call cooperative learning. And what that means is that kids work in groups, but each group member has a specific role in that group, and each person's role has to be fulfilled for the group to get credit. Second thing is paired learning. So you put the child together with a peer. Some of these things that we have looked at, like continuous time delay, progressive time delay, those are techniques that you can teach the general ed kids to use with the kid with disabilities, and so then they can be peer buddies or peer tutors for the child with a significant disability. And then independent work is important. When the other kids are working on independent work, then the child with a significant disability needs some teacher time or time with a trained paraprofessional. Uh, the best instruction as far as just getting the skills done is one-on-one with a trained professional, but that does not allow the child to have the social interaction that's so much a part of learning. And so what we want to do, just like we do for every other kid in the classroom, is to balance between large group instruction, small group instruction, and independent work.